Okay. Right now on the National Weather Desk, holiday week storm, how the weather could impact your plans this week. The big cleanup. 1 week after the bomb cyclone and atmospheric river, communities are still clearing debris and waiting for power.
But this is monumental.
We have tips to help you stay safe while driving in winter weather.
The back side of the car is skidding to the right. We're going to steer to the right.
We'll take you to a cranberry bog to see how the Thanksgiving staple is grown.
Cranberry growers are the only people that wish for a period of below zero temperatures multiple days in a row.
And monitoring a mountain said to have the worst weather in the world.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Jordan Evans. Weather will play a big role in one of the busiest travel weeks of the year. A cross-country storm brings rain, snow, and some of the coldest air so far this season. Let's show you the maps. This is the forecast for tomorrow. You can see storm system number 1 moving out of the northeast. So tomorrow overall not too bad, but check out the west coast. That is storm system number 2 moving in for snow. Places like Denver, Colorado. This is the day before Thanksgiving. Then that storm system moves into the Ohio River Valley with some showers. Temperatures quite mild across the south, but by Thanksgiving Day, that storm system impacting the northeast with snow for places around New England, heavy showers for the mid-Atlantic, and a cold front all the way down to Florida. But overall, most of the country Thanksgiving Day looking pretty quiet with sunshine and chilly temperatures across the northern half of the nation. As we check out the forecast too, Texas right now at 67. That'll be the forecast Thanksgiving Day. Mild temperatures through the deep south. Dallas at 55. Minneapolis forecasting 26 degrees. 24 Billings, Montana. And of course, that snow could bring some travel impacts to places around Boston, Buffalo, New York, and places around New Hampshire too. Small hail was seen in Northern California over the weekend. Several viewers in Redding sent video to our stations there on Saturday night. The hailstones were fairly small, described as the size of marbles. There were no reports of any injuries or serious damage. Rain is falling this morning in the Pacific Northwest, but it's nothing compared to last week's bomb cyclone that brought damaging winds to the region. Cleanup continues in many communities this morning. Crews are also working to get power back to homes that have been in the dark for almost a week. We have 2 reports, starting with Karina Vargas.
Many areas are still left in the dark, including in Sammamish. On top of that, residents also dealing with the destruction the windstorm left behind, like this tree that blocked the front of Pauline Eck's home.
I'm a low-income senior. We've lived here for 45 years. We've always done all of our yard work ourselves, but this is monumental.
Pauline tells me she hasn't been able to leave her home for days. Robert Greaves, who owns a construction business, has made it his mission to help people like Pauline clean up the aftermath.
During the week, I started compiling up stuff like chainsaws and generators and some supplies and fuel tanks so that way we could come up with a way to bring that out to the community.
Robert said he got a group of volunteers to go out into the neighborhoods and provide services like cutting trees and picking up debris for free.
Everybody has been so wonderful. The neighbors have been wonderful.
It was another busy day in North King County. Among the road closures, toppled trees, and destroyed lines, power crews started making some progress. Sammamish homeowner Sheena Sharma said she was glad to see them around because after almost a week, the overnight temperatures have been tough.
It is super cold. Mornings are close to like 30 degrees, but then again, we have a fireplace, so we're some of the lucky few in the community.
Her neighbor, Junie, said she's been seeking out whatever resources she could find to stay connected. Adding on to no electricity, at times it was even hard to communicate out here.
Most of the community has been having a lot of challenges with just cell phone connectivity. Restoration dates have been a moving target, to be honest. But completely understand given the amount of work the PSC crew has to do.
It's been a lot of damage to clean up and get through. Just before nightfall, we spotted crews still cutting down tree limbs. Then the lights came back on.
Super excited that my child will be able to go back to school and we'd be able to get back to work.
A relief for some, but others are still waiting for their turn.
Turning to Texas, where cotton producers are facing harvest challenges, including delays and curveballs from Mother Nature. Drew Powell has details.
We are about 25 to 33%, a quarter to a third harvested right now. So there is still the vast majority of our crop out in the field waiting to be harvested.
Harvest for cotton would typically be done by the end of November or the beginning of December. But thanks to Mother Nature this year, it's going to extend well into the month of January.
Cold weather, sunshine, wind, whatever Mother Nature brings will determine how long and how extended the cotton harvest can be.
Due to the current economic climate, demand for cotton is down, both domestically and internationally. And that puts a tremendous strain on the cotton gin business as well as cotton growers.
The demand for cotton has slowly been trickling down over the years in place of synthetic fibers. They're just cheaper to produce with the price of oil.
Biggest competition to cotton as a fiber, a natural fiber, is synthetics. So whenever you have cheap energy, you also have cheap competition from the synthetic market against cotton.
Provided there is no more moisture coming from the skies above, ag producers and farmers will get back out into the fields after the Thanksgiving break and resume with cotton harvest.
Thanksgiving week means winter is just around the corner, and that does mean challengers are on the road, both for experienced drivers and especially those new behind the wheel. Carter Landis has some help to keep us from safe while driving in the snow and ice.
This exercise shows drivers what to do if their vehicle starts to skid. On the track, we learned what to do.
So if the back side of the car is skidding to the right, we're going to steer to the right. If the back side of the car is skidding to the left, you're going to steer to the left.
Many young drivers taking to the road for the first time. Special Lieutenant Michelle Robinson offering some advice.
For new drivers that have never experienced winter driving, take your time. Give yourself a lot of extra time getting to your destination. Give yourself extra time between you and the vehicle in front of you.
Vehicles have become safer over time, but Robinson still makes the point that drivers must still remain sharp, paying more attention in adverse conditions.
What we need to do is teaching good driving habits. And so as the cars are getting smarter, we want to make sure that the drivers are doing the same thing.
Robinson says if you do get into a dangerous situation on the road, stay in your vehicle. That's the safest place you can be. She also mentioned keeping cat litter in your car, so if you slide off the road, you can give yourself traction to get back on the road.
Washington Observatory in New Hampshire, often said to have the worst weather in the world, they've installed new weather monitoring stations. Meteorologist Ryan Munn spoke to officials about what data the new monitors will collect.
This is really important because it's the west side of the mountain where most of our weather comes from. So we're just really excited to start recording that data, but also the partnerships and the collaborations that have come from it and what it's going to do to the community.
3, 2, 1. This is one of 5 newly installed remote weather stations along the Cog Railway.
These new stations and our current summits page is really helpful because, say you want to hike Mount Washington or any of the presidentials, but you don't know necessarily what to pack. It helps the recreationists really plan out their day.
It takes a lot of work to build one of these weather stations.
It takes about 3 days or so to pre-assemble a station, and then another day to deploy it And then the data flow integration after the station is in place takes probably another 1 or 2 days per station because of how our internal network is configured.
This information will help both short-term and long-term forecasting.
With that information, they may be able to provide with better forecasts and give us a better idea of how the climate is changing on a long-term basis. Obviously, the more data you have, the better those prognostications can be.
And check this out, scientists are giving us a rare glimpse at a newborn planet. The planet is only 3 million years old, which is considered a baby in space. Now, a team at the University of North Carolina says it's the youngest planet ever discovered. It's located in the Taurus molecular cloud, some 430 light years away. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll head to Michigan and check in on this year's Christmas tree crop. And cranberries are a Thanksgiving staple. We'll show you how they get from bog to table.
I'm meteorologist Christian Bridges. Here's a look at your forecast for the Northeast. Overall, a pretty decent Monday in store with temperatures in the 40s across the northern portion of the region, 50s further to the south from New York City to Boston, and near 60 all the way further to the south in New Jersey towards Atlantic City. A nice start to the work week will give way to a bit more active weather as we get into Tuesday. Some rain is expected to move in across the region as we head through the day with some high elevation interior snow and ice.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Jabali. Here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. We start your Monday out pretty nice and dry. Temperatures will be fairly mild, but we have a front approaching. It's going to swing through, mainly through the overnight hours. So we will begin to see some of that rainfall moving through on Monday, possibly lingering into your Tuesday morning. By Tuesday afternoon, much of that will already have cleared the area. Behind the front, it may cool down a bit, but we're still going to reach the 50s, the upper 50s to near 60 degrees on your Monday. And then Tuesday, as you can tell, it's going to be a few degrees cooler.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Readers. A look at your southeast forecast highs. We're looking at Nashville at 70 degrees, as well as Raleigh, Charleston 73, 78 in Mobile, Atlanta coming in at 72 degrees, 78 in Tampa, 78 in West Palm. As we look at the day through the afternoon, it looks like a lot of sunshine along the I-95 corridor. Interior areas around Memphis and Nashville. A little bit of cloud cover with a frontal boundary pushing through, sparking some showers that will move in late on Monday night for Atlanta down through Jackson, but clear skies in Florida.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
It may still be autumn, but here in Washington, D.C., some people are already looking ahead to spring and the cherry blossom season. Major work is being done along the Tidal Basin where those cherry trees are. Liana Golden gives us a look at some of those improvements.
It's amazing. It's beautiful. Amidst all the beauty, it's loud. You'll hear the sounds of progress on the Tidal Basin reconstruction project.
We are now in the course of driving the foundational piles that will hold up the new seawall. Some of what we hear going on in the background right now.
Noisy or not, 700 of those piles will slowly but surely rebuild the strength of a long-time sinking seawall.
Mike, you've been doing this a long time. As long as you've worked for the National Park Service, have you seen a project of this size here at the Tidal Basin?
I've never seen a project this size at the National Mall. No one in the National Park Service has ever seen a project this size.
What do you say we take a walk, go check it out?
Let's take a look.
Let's do it.
So this is a sample, if you will, of what the completed seawall is going to look like.
Although it won't quite look like that in time for the 2025 cherry blossom season,
there will be an uninterrupted loop trail around the Tidal Basin as people are used to.
Litteris says the project is on budget and schedule to wrap up by spring 2026, creating decades worth of healthy cherry trees.
It will certainly be an inconvenience for cherry blossom season this year and next year, but this is a solution that is going to keep the Tidal Basin and the cherry trees protected for at least the next 100 years.
Cranberries are one of a handful of fruits native to North America. Meteorologist Nick Russo went to a cranberry bog in New England to show us how this Thanksgiving staple gets to your holiday table.
This is pure joy for people to come and experience this.
On a warm autumn day, people tour a cranberry bog in Rochester, Massachusetts, 8 miles northwest of New Bedford. 2024 is the first year the Hartley family farm offered tours to the public.
We're standing in a bog full of cranberry candy.
Glenn Cagle, a Houston native, made sure to stop at a cranberry bog on his trip to New England.
Oh, I think it's great. I didn't know there was this much involvement in the growing and picking, because I didn't even know there was dry and wet.
A wet harvest, shown here, gathers cranberries from the bog to be loaded into a truck and used for cranberry sauce or juice. A dry harvest, on the other hand, is what it sounds like. Cranberries are harvested dry, which allows them to be bagged and sold in the produce section.
Dry harvest, which I'm most involved with, is truly labor intensive. It is old fashioned. It is walking, it is putting berries in a giant burlap sack, and it is hauling a burlap sack off the bogs.
At Hartley Family Farm in Rochester, the harvest begins in October and continues into mid-November. They need cold nights to get the rest of these cranberries ripe enough to harvest. Chilly nights in the 30s and upper 20s accelerate the ripening of cranberries, but it's possible to have too much of a good thing.
In the fall, this time of year, if it gets too cold, we could lose berries. We could lose an entire crop. So we have to be very cautious.
An irrigation system automatically turns on to protect the berries if temperatures drop below 24, which is the danger zone for cranberries.
The irrigation will freeze and insulate the berries.
Cranberry growers like the Hartleys battling Mother Nature to keep this Thanksgiving staple on your kitchen table.
Looks good. Many of you will be shopping for a Christmas tree in the coming days and weeks. Meteorologist Trevor Rubidoux visited a tree farm in Michigan to see how this year's crop looks.
For many families in Michigan, the process for finding the perfect Christmas tree starts sometime after Halloween. But for Daryl Robinson at Robinson's Tree Farms, the art of providing the perfect tree starts much earlier than that.
It's a busy time all year round for Christmas tree farmers. I mean, you're talking about weed control, mowing, trimming, coning, all kinds of stuff.
One of the bigger challenges growing Christmas trees is irrigation, making sure the trees, especially the young seeds, get enough water, something we did not have a lot of in the second half of the growing season. But Robinson said his trees did great due to the fantastic summer.
The summer with the rain, our trees did phenomenal. They filled out, we had great growth, good color. And some of the leaders were 2 foot tall. Obviously we cut those back, but the trees really enjoyed the summer. And then we came into August, September, where we ran into the drought. It doesn't affect the bigger trees. The small trees, we lost a few of the seedlings due to the drought. But as far as everything else, it was overall, I would say it was pretty decent season.
This year has been a challenge for some tree farmers in the Northeast with drought and in North Carolina due to Hurricane Helene. So there is a concern there may be a shortage in Christmas trees 5 to 10 years from now, but Bert Craig with MSU doesn't think so.
There were some growers that were impacted, actually very, very severely, but North Carolina's got, I think, 900 plus growers. And fortunately, most of those folks are still able to harvest, and they've been able to repair the roads and bridges and get the trees out. So I don't think there'll be any major impacts from that up here as well.
While some local farmers may be impacted more than others, signs seem to point that there were no major problems with growing or market for trees this year or trees 5 to 10 years from now for most people in Michigan.
Hunting season is underway in Michigan, which means hunters are spread out across the state. Officials are asking they use a special app that will make communicating exact locations a lot easier. Daniel Zivian has more.
Along the North Country Trail, just outside of St. Ignace. But if I wanted to tell someone exactly where I was standing, I could say I'm at Flux hurricanes moguls. Or I could take a couple of steps this way and say that I'm at airbrush pronounced whimpered. Crucially, for hunters up here for firearm deer season, this works anywhere around the globe. Mackinac County has used what 3 words for 2 years. It divides the world into 10-foot squares, each with a unique 3-word name.
We have things like our business cards here. You see flyers out at restaurants and bars. You see signs out on the trailhead letting people know when before they go out on the trails or into these remote areas, think about what if an emergency is going to occur and how am I going to tell people where they are at.
Tracy says the words are easier to grasp than coordinates and can narrow search areas in the wilderness. But Sheriff Ed Wilk says hunters shouldn't hinge all of their plans on a phone app.
Leave a plan with a family member or a trusted friend, somebody that knows when you're going out, when you plan to be back, and the general location where you're at. So if you don't return on time, we have an opportunity to start searching in a more defined area rather than just all of Mackinac County.
Tracy says the app is free for everyone, its use coming at no cost to the taxpayer. Both the person and central dispatch should have the app for it to work efficiently.
We've actually had some calls already come in to our 911 dispatch center where the caller didn't know where they were at. The dispatcher was able to send them a link or guide them to the What 3 Words app, find their location, and then share that location backwards through the communication chains to the responders.
And we'll be right back.
Good Monday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. Cold front's moving its way across the Midwest as we go through the day today, giving some rain across the Ohio Valley and some snow across the northern Great Lakes. Much colder with sunshine behind that, though. So again, a little bit of rain and snow for part of the eastern side of the Midwest for the day today. Cold across the plains and getting chilly all across the area for your Tuesday, and a little rain snow mix returns Wednesday.
Good Monday morning. I'm meteorologist Joe DiCarlo. Look at your forecast across the region, and we have the first of 2 cold fronts ahead this week moving through. Today it will be much cooler north of the front. You see 40s and 50s, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and northern Texas, but then 70s and 80s south of the front. Front will move through the region overnight, setting up a cooler day for your Tuesday.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Here's what's happening across the West. Temperatures have cooled down below normal for much of the Pacific Northwest. And we have another storm system that's been tracking its way down the western coast, bringing more rainfall into California and mountain snow pushing in heavy in the Sierra Nevadas, where we could have about 2 to 3 feet of snow today. And that mountain snow pushing in lightly into the Idaho mountains and across the Rockies. That's the scene from here.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Here's a great morning rainbow. This formed after a recent squall blew through the Providence, Rhode Island area. And here's a tale of two pets. A cat near Baltimore who couldn't care less about the first season snowfall. And this young doggie's first time seeing snow meant it was time to frolic and play.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on TikTok.
Have you heard of a fall streak or hole punch cloud? If not, you're about to add this to your weather word toolkit. Meteorologist Scott Hetzko explains.
Here's a cool one for you. Thank you to Linda Blazier for sending me this one. So a fall streak, what is it? We see these in alto clouds on occasion. Basically, they're super cooled water drops that encounter ice crystals from some reason other than a plane or something, and then they will freeze on contact and grow and fall out of the sky, creating like a little punch hole right there in the sky. This was taken a few days ago regionally in New York. Pretty cool shot. And there you go, fall streak. Maybe you never heard of it.
For more weather content, be sure to check us out on social media. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm meteorologist Jordan Evans. Make it a great Monday. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.